Hey, this is Vu, and today I'm going to be talking about retakes. And the most important thing to recognize about retakes is actually they don't start when everybody seems to think they start. If you were to ask, a random player when he thinks a retake really starts, maybe this is a bit of a trick question, but it really doesn't start when you start to make your way into kitchen here, and the bomb's already planted. No. A retake starts being set up, at least, by the player in the bomb site. A good teammate holding onto a site can make retakes infinitely easier to actually work just by doing a few things. And the most important of those is staying alive as long as possible. If your teammate at B gets picked, while he's standing here and they just get 5 people into the bomb site with full nades, you need to recognize that retake is not happening. Okay, it's just not gonna happen, barely ever. It's one of those situations where you say, okay, Opper, go into market or go on cat. If you can find a pick, we'll try and make our way into this round. If not, we're going to save. Because your teammate B has done the absolute worst job possible. He has died without delaying at all. He's died without drawing out any nades. He's died without getting any kills. And really, kills aren't the most important thing when you're holding a site. Of course, it's amazing to get, 4 kills on a hold. But if you can get 1 kill and fall back into a spot like this behind site and remain alive, you have your teammate rotate in and support you, you can make your retake, 30% more effective just by having this player alive. And there are spots like this on every site, on every map. Pit on Inferno, Construction on Inferno. You can have a player alive on this side of the boxes on Mirage, or you can have, infinitely more places on every other map where your goal as a site holder is just hold the site, try and do as much damage as possible, take out as many nades as possible, because the more nades they use on the take, of course, that means the more nades or the less nades they have on the retake, and hopefully get out into a position where you can remain alive and make the retake easier by having better positioning. And in the cases of a spot like Construction on Inferno or Pit on Inferno, you're preventing them from getting control of a very important area. And maybe that area when you're behind the site is here, but more importantly, you can actually try and deal with this guy bench more easily. You can prevent a bomb plant sometimes, and they have to be worried about you. They have to always consider that you could peek out on them at any moment, and they're worried about it, which makes them put in a much worse position. Now, when the actual retake starts, your first goal is to actually have someone calling the retake. This is so important, and so few teams do this, especially at a lower level. But in matchmaking and pugs, this almost never happens. It does not matter who calls a retake, but someone needs to. So for example, if you have 3 people alive and 2 of them are in market and 1 of them's on cat, you can have whoever has, really one of the most effective ways to do this is have the guy with the most nades call it. You have someone that's dead go, this guy has the most nades, these 2 other guys have X and Y nades, call it. And so this guy goes, okay, I'm going to molly off bench, or I don't even know if you can molly off bench from here, to be honest. I'm going to smoke off this spot, you smoke off another spot, and you pinch in towards the bomb site together. That's by far the most important thing about retaking. It's not as important as, it's more important than any specific other thing, is to just have a guy call the retake. He can coordinate everything, he can make sure everybody goes in at the exact same moment, and he can make sure that you're all watching the same, areas to help each other, to support each other. Because if you don't have anybody calling the retake, it doesn't matter how good you are as players. A lot of the time, you're going to have 2 people staring at the same angle. They're going to be thinking something's clear, or, thinking it's not clear, and they have to look at it. Things like that. Again, the most important thing is to have someone calling the retake, other than the pre-retake. Of course, these 2 things work together perfectly, and that's how you have a really good retake. Really, the specifics of the actual retake are almost insignificant once you get these 2 things, because what you really want to be doing is, number 1, assessing the retake. Can you actually get this retake, or is it one of those situations where you want to maybe have an opper set up, try and find a pick on a somewhat risky angle, and then, rotate off? Or save if you don't find the pick, or go for it if you do? Do they have too many nades? Are they too pushed up? You want to assess if the retake can happen. And number 2, call the retake. Make sure everybody's coordinated on the same page. And once you're able to do those 2 things, you can do it on every map in any site, because any other specific information about retakes is really only applicable to certain maps. Really all you need to know, and the reason I say it like this is because it's just such a commonly asked question, is, can you help with retakes? This is all you need to know. This will fix your retakes on every map. You don't need to know anything more specific, like how you need to smoke off a main on cache. Like, as many smokes as you know, if possible, know them, of course, right? Smoke off any area where they can't just work around it. Like, you can't really smoke off bench because they can just work around that smoke. You don't necessarily want to smoke off, anywhere kind of around here because they can play around that smoke. You might want to smoke the bomb. Actually, this is one of the effective ways to go into a site. It's just early on you can smoke off the bomb, and that means that at all times their player here is kind of on edge. They might actually peek out early trying to spam it even as you're still taking the bomb site, and to fake it you can just quick fake the bomb, come out, and it's just such a free kill if you don't have to throw that smoke, rather, or like late round, if you don't have to throw it then fake versus just faking the bomb when it's already up. But all of these things are kind of site specific. Again, all you need to know is retakes start before the actual retake. It really depends on the player in the bomb site, and the most important thing is to coordinate the retake and figure out, should it even happen. I see a lot of teams go for retakes that are absolutely retarded. You can't go for every retake. You will lose money. It's pointless. And the most important thing to recognize when you're doing that is look at the money situation on your team. I do this a lot. My team will be in a 3-on-3 retake, or, a 3-on-3 retake that I wouldn't necessarily tell them not to go for, but, it's a situation where they're probably not going to win. They might just be wasting their guns. And then you look at the tab, and if 2 of these guys save their gun, then we can buy next round. And that's like a pivotal round because maybe something else has happened to make that a pivotal round, right? Or if all 3 of them save their guns, we can buy next round. So that in that situation, I kind of just say, save your guns, we can buy next round. Or go for a pick, like try and find a pick. If you can't find it, then save. Those are the situations that a judgment call needs to be made, and you need to figure that out. However, other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.